Hi there, friends. I'm making this video just to subject you guys to a relatively unpleasant happening that I experienced today online because I'm petty and I kind of brought it on myself. I don't really know what I was expecting, but here I go. Um, I was scrolling through my Facebook feed as mundane and ridiculous and life soul crushing as it can be day to day. Um, and one of my friends had liked a picture that said, if an unborn child's life has no meaning, then why do its tissues and organs? And I thought to myself for 2 seconds, I thought, this is not a battle that you want to get yourself into. Just don't even think about commenting. But I just couldn't help myself. I am a glutton for punishment and I enjoy conflict to a fault. So I commented something along the lines of how we can use the unborn children's tissues to test things that could help save the lives of living people without using the means of animal parts or living human subjects, which I thought was a reasonable answer. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about the whole, Planned Parenthood selling children's parts debacle, but all I do know is that it is legal. So I wasn't going to get into like the political semantics of it. I just kind of thought that what they were looking for was an answer, like a one-sided answer to a one-sided question, and that's what I gave them. It didn't really take a whole lot of time for the evil, mean ass comments to roll in about how I am a baby murderer and that the world, someone did say that the world would benefit if I had been aborted. Somebody called me a proponent for genocide. Somebody likened me to a Nazi and Adolf Hitler. What else did they say? Something else really unnecessary, whatever, I can't remember. Because I disagreed with them. I gave them an answer to their question, and they shot me down and told me that I should have been aborted, which is kind of ironic coming from people who so violently and viciously go after people who support abortion. Saying that I should have been aborted is a little bit ironic and makes you look kind of stupid. So, and it got me thinking, I'm speaking to these people who are so anti-abortion that they would rather have a mother with a dead baby carry that baby until it was born than just cut the pregnancy short and end the suffering of the mom and the soon-to-be dead baby, which actually did happen. I was reading an article the other day about a soon-to-be mother, or previously, I suppose, whose unborn child had some kind of horrible deformity, and the child would not survive past birth. So they opted to terminate the pregnancy. And in the comments section, I'm seeing comments like, well, you still put your feelings above that of the child's. The child there was no possibility that that child would live. Can you imagine there being people existing in this world right now alongside you and me who think that a pregnant woman should have to carry a child that will not survive birth? Can you imagine being that woman carrying a child that continues to grow and you can feel that child and you can feel that that child is alive, but that child will never be they will never grow up, they will never experience life, they will die as soon as you give birth because somebody decided that that child's feelings, that unborn child's feelings, were more important than yours. And that is another point that I wanted to talk about just a little bit. When talking about researching with human tissues like an unborn child, hypothetically, I believe personally that it is a more valiant effort to use the tissues of an unborn child to try to save the lives of children that are born and alive and have families and are very sick and could die from a disease that could be cured if we would, use our resources and we could try just a little tiny bit harder. If we could just try that That would be great. And people are saying to me, "Oh, well, I can't believe that you would support the death of one child to save thousands or millions." Well, fucking yeah, I would. If it was me, go right ahead. If I could, if I cared about humanity and the what's the word I'm looking for? If I cared about the state of mankind, we'll just leave it at that. If I cared about mankind, I would totally give up my life to make sure that other innocent people did not have to suffer from a disease that my body and my tissues could have helped prevent. But other people disagree with me because of a hypothetical plus sign on a pregnancy test. And that's one thing I would like to ask people. Who is this child's mother? What is this child's name? What blood type does this child have? You don't fucking know, because the only thing you know about abortion is that it happens and that it's women who do it, and that you can stand outside of Planned Parenthood for 6 hours protesting, and you will see women walk in and out of Planned Parenthood, but you will not even try to figure out which ones are going in for a yeast infection treatment or a mammogram or an abortion, because you just don't give a shit. All you want to do is make sure that you got your brownie points with God for that day by going and protesting something that you don't really understand. It just kind of sounds sad to you. You don't really understand the effect that would take place if every single child conceived ever in the world was alive today. Okay, we would be crawling on top of each other. I keep seeing these statistics like, millions and millions of babies are aborted every year or some shit like that. It's like, can you imagine if millions and millions of more people existed? I keep seeing statistics from people that are telling me like, the world has enough resources to feed, clothe, and house 12 billion people. And I'm just like, okay, so show me evidence of that in the 7 or 8 billion people that we have today. I'm not seeing it. I know very well that there are people that don't have enough food day to day. There are people that have been wearing the same clothes since 2008. There are some people that are homeless, obviously, very many of them. And there are children all over the world, living children with families, that are suffering today because their parents could not take care of them from the beginning. I think that is a cruel way to make your point. If all life is sacred, then what about the lives of people that are eventually going to suffer? Like children being born into situations where their parents cannot take care of them or refuse to. When a child is born into a home that doesn't want them, it's most likely that they will grow up, they won't have a lot of their needs met emotionally, financially, and they will grow up distant, and they will start to get into drugs. And then, after all of the Facebook pictures and the amens and the hallelujahs have died down and this child's about 12 years old, you'll have your child enrolled in the same school as that child. And that child will be doing drugs, and they will be skipping class, and you'll say, I don't want my child associating with that child. It happens every day. You've got these people, these bored housewives that sit at home and they type it up on Facebook. They're just like, oh my God, I can't believe that somebody wants this child to die. This unborn, beautiful child could be the next Mozart, could cure cancer, whatever the fuck. Could cure cancer. Maybe. Even if they were aborted, they could cure cancer, but they just, they just type up the shitstorm on Facebook about how nobody cares about children. You know who really doesn't care about children? You. You know why you don't care about children? Because the lifestyle that you have afforded yourself of cheap goods from other countries is riding on the back of child labor, of cheap labor in other countries. And it goes from things like chocolate to cheap clothing to cheap produce, all those things. You don't want to buy fair trade. You don't want to buy from small businesses because it costs you more. But when you're doing things like that, you are consuming the sweat and blood and tears and shortened lifespan of a child just like the ones that you are petitioning to save, because you don't see the other end of the issue. It would be just easier for you to stand outside of Planned Parenthood and spout off about how every life is sacred until that child is born and you no longer give a shit. You will not pay $7 more in taxes per year for children to have free, healthier meals at school because it's your tax dollars and you'll decide what you do with it, right? That's what I see a lot of. I don't see people taking care of children whose parents can't afford to take care of them. I see people petitioning for children to be born and then not giving a shit after it happens. That's what I see. So, in the end, what I was saying before was there is something that can come out of, researching with human tissues from aborted children. I'm not even sure if that's really what's happening. I didn't really look into it, but it's a possibility. It's like donating your body to science. Like, am I worth less of a person if I decide to donate my body or donate my organs? No. Is that mother, being cruel? And I mean, it's like they're pulling this shit from like a horror movie. Like, I can't believe this is happening to these poor unborn babies. Worse shit happens to real live people every single day, and I never, ever hear you supporting them. Never. The only people you care about are hypothetical babies, hypothetical plus signs on pregnancy tests, and that's all that you care about. So, this was not very enlightening. I don't really have a whole lot to say, and I'm not very articulate when I try to say it, but I just felt like I needed to, get it out. So, thanks for watching, or thanks for not watching. Have a great rest of your day. Sorry that I made you watch this. Goodbye.